Hi everyone, we are in a beautiful city, Ningbo. We're next to Nine Dragons Lake, a very beautiful place. And next to me, this car is something that on the first glance might be very familiar to you. And you might ask, why am I showing you the G23 series BMW? Well, you do get this thing everywhere, but wait with me. Because this car is very, very special. Usually we show you cars that are made in China, sometimes only for Chinese markets. Sometimes you do get these cars in other parts of the world. But this is something that we have only here in China. Because this is a car that most parts of the world got in a very different form. This is a BMW i3. And today I will tell you everything you need to know about it. A very interesting car. So welcome to Car Shifu. Well, you heard me right. This is BMW i3, an exclusive car for Chinese market. And this all-electric 3 Series BMW doesn't stop here because it is a long wheelbase car, L35. What does it mean? I'll tell you in a minute. Well, i3, this name is familiar for most people in most parts of the world because BMW made this car more than 10 years ago. And it was quite a special exercise for BMW to make all-electric car, which had actually a range extender, which is also a very interesting thing. But that car was a small hatchback, very futuristic, which was made of carbon fiber, a very, very interesting exercise, which was actually an exercise for BMW to see how people will react to a car like this. But then here in China, there was a boom for electric cars, and BMWs, they decided, okay, we have a 3 Series BMWs that made on Claire platform, which means you can do hybrid cars, and you also can do an electric car, which this is. If we talk about underpinnings of this car, what you get underneath, it's basically a BMW i4 that most parts of the world got. So it's all electric with single motor, which is at the back. When BMW decided to make this car i3 for Chinese market, they had to change a lot of stuff. Here in China, we do get BMW 3 Series with long wheelbase. For example, if in, let's say, Europe or United States, you get 320i, here we get 320Li. If you get 330i, here we get 330Li. Of course, the short wheelbase 3 Series BMW also is sold here in China. But when BMW decided to make i3 from a 3 Series BMW for Chinese market, they had to change a lot. So this car is almost 15 centimeters longer than the 3 Series BMW that you get in other countries. Apart from this, the roofline is different and the floor is different. So BMW, they did a lot of homework to make this car. Well, let's say if you're planning to buy one of these, so what choice do you have? Actually, there are two versions of it, L35 eDrive and L40 eDrive. eDrive means it's fully electric. L means it's a long wheelbase. 35 and 40, it's the power. Let's start with 35. What do you get? You get single motor at the back. So this car, it's a rear wheel drive car. 286 horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque. 0 to 100, this car does in 6.2 seconds. And the next version is L40. You get the same single motor, but with more power, 340 horsepower and 430 Newton meters of torque. With 0 to 100, a little more than 5 seconds. All the versions are rear-wheel drive. If we talk about the range, the L35 has 550 CLTC range, and the L40 has 625 kilometers CLTC range. Now let's talk about its suspension, because this is another very interesting part of this BMW i3. If we talk about the suspension or what it gives you, well, in the front it's MacPherson and at the back it's a multi-link. But the thing is, and something that BMW 3 Series didn't get in the history of BMW 3 Series, is this car has air suspension. But the thing is, the air suspension that this BMW has is only at the rear, and in the front you do not have any. So quite an interesting setup, which gave it quite an interesting flavor. How it drives. Because this car drives not really like a normal BMW 3 Series, which I will tell you in a minute. But first, let's talk about what do you get inside BMW i3. Well, before we get inside and I'll introduce you the interior of this car, let's talk a little about its trunk. First of all, it's not electric, but it does open by itself, which is actually quite smart, and you do get in most of the cars this. So the thing is, the trunk of this car is not as big as a petrol or diesel version of 3 Series BMW, but the reason is very simple, because you do get an electric motor at the back. It's a rear-wheel drive car, which means the motor has to be at the back, and you do get the air suspension, which takes some space. So if we talk about the width, it's the same as other cars, other BMW 3 Series. If we talk about how deep it is, it's also the same, but the floor is a little higher, so you do not have the height of the petrol or diesel BMW 3 Series. But everything considered, actually, the size is not bad. Let's talk about how it feels on the inside. Well, basically it feels like a BMW 3 Series with its flaws and its good sides. If we talk about the good sides, well, it's a BMW, it's well made, but you do not get fancy interior materials that you do get with most of Chinese cars of this segment. Here you do get soft plastic, you do get something that looks like leather, and you do get soft plastic here and down there. You do get a feeling that it's well made, but expensive. Well, maybe not. Also, the design. To be honest, I'm not really a fan of the recent BMW interiors. First of all of these screens. Of course, this is something that everybody makes, and if you're making a car, this is something you have to make. But for me, the previous interior of BMW 3 Series G20, well, it looked more like a car and less like tech exercise. But of course, this is something that is different for every person. Some people might like it, I don't like it. Another thing that I don't like is these little buttons that you use to change the rear drive or D, or put it in neutral. Why? Why would you use something like this? It doesn't have any feel, and it feels like, well, it doesn't feel like a BMW. Another thing that I do not like in this car is how you sit in it. The seats themselves are really nice. They're not too soft, but they're soft enough, and there's enough support for your legs, for your back. And another good side of these seats is how much you can adjust them, because you can adjust it up, down, you can adjust the angle of the seat, you can adjust the backrest. But the thing is, this steering wheel, it looks really nice. This is an M steering wheel, but the adjustment is just not enough. I can sit really, really low in this car, but this steering wheel, it feels like I'm sitting in a bus. And this problem is not just with this car, it's a problem of most BMWs, G-Series BMWs, where the steering wheel doesn't go down enough. Look at it. It's almost higher than my head. So I have to sit up. I don't like that. Well, we've talked about parts that I don't really like in this car, but let's talk about how much equipment do you get. Well, most of Chinese cars, Chinese brands, when they make a car in this price range, which we will talk about in a minute, or this segment, they give you everything. Starting from cooling, heating and massage seats, all the way to really nice sound system, fridge, the screens and everything. You do get everything in the front and in the back. Wireless charging. There is nothing else to wish for. But with this car, to be honest, it doesn't get anything at all. This version L35, what does it get? It has adaptive cruise control, it has automatic lights, automatic wipers, it has memory seats, it has dual climate control, and, well, it has the newest iDrive system, which is actually quite nice to use. It's touchscreen, and you can use it with this controller here. But apart from this, there isn't much in it. Actually, what I just told you, it's everything it gets. You can have Harman Kardon speakers, but you have to pay for them. So toys-wise or equipment-wise, it actually doesn't get much. Now let's take a look how it feels at the back. The back seat is where BMW gets some points back. Not compared to most of Chinese cars of this segment, because they get even more space at the back, but compared to a normal BMW 3 Series without letter L. The thing is, this car, it's a long wheelbase, which means it has another more than 14 centimeters for your legs in the back, which means your knees, they do not touch the front seat. The thing is, this is my sitting position. My height is 1.75 meters. And I sit really sporty. I sit low down with the backrest angle really far back. So most of the cars behind me, you do not get much space. With this car, well, you can take a look. It's actually not bad. And considering that this is an electric car, the seats are actually high enough. It means you have enough support for your knees. And the seats themselves are not very short, which you do get with some of the cars, even higher in the segment. For example, EQE Mercedes at the back is not as comfortable as this one. Well, you do get two ISOFIX ports, which means you can put two baby seats in here. You do get your own climate control at the back, and you do get two Type-C chargers. Apart from this, you have this handrest with cup holders and a small compartment for, well, some stuff that you carry. Altogether, it is a nice place to sit at. Maybe you do not get much stuff in here. No cooling, no heating, no massage, which in most of Chinese cars. But considering this is a BMW, well, you have to pay for BMW, right? It's okay. Now, let's take it to the road and see, how does it drive? BMW i3, how does it feel on the road? Let's start from how much power does it give you. Yes, we know the numbers: 286 horsepower, 400 newton meters of torque, and actually this number 286 is quite interesting. Why? Because for BMW, the history of BMW, the history of numbers of the engine, well, this number is actually quite interesting. Why? Because the late 90s and the early 2000s, their 4.4 V8 had 286 horsepower, the same as this one. So in the numbers, there is this small special thing. Of course, how this car feels and how it delivers this power is nothing like a V8 of the early BMWs. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, this car does in 6.2 seconds. Well, if we take the numbers, it's very close to a BMW 330i, which is actually quite fast. And to be honest, this car is plenty fast for anyone. And being a rear-wheel drive car, it tickles you on the acceleration, especially if it's wet. It will turn its back wheels, and it gives this a little sensation, makes you a little nervous, which is fun. It's not boring. And being an electric car, it delivers everything from zero. If we're talking about the petrol engine, you have to wait until, let's say, 2000 RPM before it gives you the maximum of the torque. If it's a turbocharged engine, and if it's naturally aspirated, well, you have to wait until 3500 RPM before it gives you torque, and wait until, let's say, 5000 to 6000, in some cases 7000 RPM before it gives you all of the horsepower. But with the electric engines, electric motors, it's a very different story, because it gives you the maximum torque and the maximum horsepower from zero. So when you step on the accelerator, it gives you everything. There's no gearbox, or the gearbox in traditional way. So you do not have the changes of the gears. Yes, it takes a little of this engagement. But if we talk about how fluid it is, well, it is very fluid, and it is very strong, and it is very quick, and it's actually really nice. It is like a wave of torque that doesn't stop, to be honest, until the speed that, well, you could lose your driving license here in China. Let's talk about the accelerator and the brakes. We start with the accelerator. How does it feel? Well, depending on which mode you choose, because it has comfort, it has eco, and it has sport. Well, in sport, it's really, really quick. It's razor quick. You step and, well, it gives you everything. And you do not have to wait until the certain RPMs. So it's really quick. In comfort, still it's quick, but it gives you a little of time to get ready for the acceleration. And actually it does feel like, well, I wouldn't say a petrol engine or a petrol car, no, but it gives you this time to get ready before the acceleration, and you actually in comfort mode can drive it really comfortably. Slow, gentle, nice, polite. Well, it's a comfy setting for the accelerator, so it will not be nervous, it will not be too quick, it will not give you too much power, but of course if you step on it, well, okay, it gives you everything. If we talk about the brakes, this car is not light. If we compare this car, let's say with 320i or 330i, the difference in weight is more than 400 kilograms, which is a lot. So on the brakes, do you feel this extra weight? To be honest, not really. It stops really well, and the control of the brakes and control of the braking distance is really, really nice. You do not have to press brakes really deep into the floor. You control the pressure on it and it gives you everything. And actually, you use pressure to control the braking distance and how much brakes do you want. So it's actually very, very usable. It's really nice to use. It's something that you're waiting from, let's say, a well-tuned, well set up BMW. So brake-wise, I do not have any problems with it. It's really nice. Now let's talk about the steering and how it feels. First of all, the steering, well, we've talked about it. It's a little too big and it's a little, I would say, too fat. So when you hold it, yes, it does have the feeling that you're holding something in your hand, something really big, beefy, meaty. But to be honest, it could be a little smaller and a little less fat in your hands. Talking about the weight of the steering and how it feels, how much information does it give you? Is it clear enough? Do you have enough information of what the front wheel's doing and how much grip do you have? Well, weight-wise, you can choose. You would like it to be light or you would like it to be, well, more heavy in your hands, which is good. Of course, it's not as weighty as BMWs of early, let's say 2000, where you felt it in your hands. Now it's more creamy, it's more soft in your hands. You do not have to use too much energy to turn the wheel, but it has this luxuriety in it, which is something that you're waiting from a BMW of, well, let's say these days. Because this car, it is an electric car, but it actually feels like, well, I wouldn't say a classic BMW, but a BMW from, let's say, 2018 or 2019. It feels like BMW 3 Series G20. If we talk about how much information it gives you, and does it have any fun in it? Well, again, it feels the same as a petrol version of 3 Series. It is comfy enough, but the nose is really quick and responsive. You do know what your front wheel's doing, what angle they're turned, what kind of pavement you're driving on. All of this information is here on your steering wheel. And you feel it with your hands, with your body, which makes it, to be honest, really nice to drive. So steering-wise, how quick it is, how much information does it give you, and how much confidence it gives you. It is a BMW, which is a really high praise. Let's talk about the suspension and how it feels on the road. Well, to be honest, it feels more like a 5 Series BMW rather than 3 Series. Well, G20 3 Series is really comfy on the road. If we compare it to a previous 3 Series BMW F30, this one takes it a little bit higher in this respect. It's really comfy. It's planted. It deals really well with all of the problems on the road. I mean, all of the potholes and these sort of things, even big ones. Also, it controls its weight really well. It goes through the corners really well too. I wouldn't say it's really sporty, no, but it is very, very confident. If you want, you can drive it really fast. But, okay, no matter what, it lets you know this car is more of a comfort orientated, but still it behaves really, really well in the corners, and you could have some fun with it. Cabin, The cabin is quiet enough. You do not have too much noise from the tires. You do not have too much wind noise. And if you add this really nice suspension setup, this car is actually really nice. Would I want more power? To be honest, no, I don't need it. This one is quick enough. Would I want more comfort? No, this is more than comfy enough. Would I want more sportiness? If I get more sportiness, it means I lose in comfort, which is actually quite intoxicating here. Well, maybe the sportiness or enough of sport feel or enough of engagement of this car is enough. So if you do not look at it as a driver's tool, let's say a 335 BMW or 340i BMW, if you're looking for a driver's tool, something like 340i or a previous, let's say, E-generation 3 Series, E90, 330i or 335 or 335i, well, no, this car doesn't feel like that. But if you're looking for something that is really comfy and nice and polite and very potent, then you will really like this car. Now at the end, let's talk about the pricing, because this is another very special thing about this car. If we talk about an official price of this car, it starts from 350,000 RMB all the way to 410,000 RMB, which is approximately 43,000 euros all the way to 50,000 euros, which is not cheap. And here, for this price in China, you can get a lot of other cars. But the thing is, now if you're considering to buy this car in China, they have a really nice discount of around 150,000 RMB, which makes this car around 200,000 RMB all the way to 250,000 RMB after the discount. Which means the price of this car in euros starts from 25,000 euros all the way to 31,000 euros, which makes it, well, considering this is a BMW, if we do not talk about the toys inside, a bargain. Of course, for this price here in China, you have a huge choice with the cars that are faster, better equipped, and even cheaper. But, well, again, this is a BMW, which also costs something, right, everyone? Well, no matter what, this car, it has its flaws, it has its good sides. The best thing about this car is how it drives, because driving wise, how it behaves on the road, how much pleasure, how much comfort, and how much engagement this car gives you, this is a very much BMW, and this is something that not every brand, not every car can give you. And just for this, to be honest, it's worth what it cost, because this is a really nice car to drive, and this is what BMW is about, driving, right? Well, that's it for today. My name is Amin, and welcome back to our channel where we show you all the interesting parts, cars, technology of the Chinese car market. See you next time. Welcome back to Car Shifu.